हनीफ साहब, मौलाना रफीक साहब, मौलाना आमिर साहब, अल्लाह पाक इनके आने को कबूल फरमाए। बहुत खिदमत कर रहे हैं माशाल्लाह। अल्बानिया में हम गए थे तो हमने देखा था माशाल्लाह। कैसे हैं वहाँ पर उलमाए किराम? ठीक है, सलाम कहना उनको। हाँ माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह, अल्लाह कबूल फरमाए। मौलाना आमिर साहब हमारे दारुल में फारिग हुए, पाकिस्तान शिफ्ट हो गए, इस्लामाबाद में स्कूल चलाते हैं, मदरसा चलाते हैं माशाल्लाह, बहुत खिदमत कर रहे हैं। अल्लाह इनकी मेहनत भी कबूल फरमाए। मौलाना रफ़ीक सूफ़ी साहब ब्लैक बंदारुल में पढ़ाते हैं माशाल्लाह, मुदर्रिस हैं, हमारे बच्चों के उस्ताद हैं। मौलवी ज़फ़ान की दो बच्चे वहाँ हैं ना, मोहम्मद सुलेमान तो मौलाना रफ़ीक साहब से पढ़ते हैं। अल्लाह पाक सबको कबूल फरमाए। चलिए, अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। वल्लज़ीन युतवफ़्फ़ौन मिनकुम वयज़रून अज़वाजन यतरब्बस्न बिअन्फुसिहिन्न अर्बअत अशहुरिन वअशरा। And those among you who pass away and leave wives behind, their wives shall keep themselves waiting for 4 months and 10 days. فإذا بلغنا أجلهن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلن في أنفسهن بالمعروف. Then when they have reached the end of their waiting period, there is no sin on you in what they do for themselves in a reasonable manner, as recognized by Allah and the law of Allah. Wallahu bima ta'maluna khabir. And Allah is all aware of what you do. We are reading the tafsir of verse number 234 of Surah Baqarah. Previously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has talked about nikah, masail of nikah, mubasharat, ila. Then Allah mentioned talaq, and then Allah mentioned iddatul talaq. And iddatul talaq is during the lifetime of the husband. So you could say that was iddatul hayat. Now Allah is moving on to iddatul wafat. So Allah said for a divorced woman, the iddat is 3 periods. And for a woman whose husband dies, widow, the iddat is 4 months and 10 days. So Allah is now talking about iddatul wafat and some ahkam. In between, Allah mentioned masail of rada'at, which we read last week. وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ, child support, maintenance, and some masail we covered on that. Because after talaq, sometimes children are involved. So Allah mentioned the masail of the rada'at and suckling the child and weaning the child and supporting the child and the mother during that period. These masail were mentioned. Now, Allah is mentioning this iddatul wafat. First of all, in the beginning, iddatul wafat was 1 year. Maulana Sahab, tashreef laiye, aapke liye kursi taiyar hai. Which we will read in the ayat coming, ila al-hawl, mata'an ila al-hawl ghayr ikhraj. But then Allah reduced that 1 year iddat to 4 months and 10 days. Before we go on to that iddat period, this iddat is not something new. It was in the previous generations, previous eras as well. In the Jahiliyyah period, they used to sit in iddat for 1 year, and she would be placed in the worst of places, a small hut. She would not be allowed to get out of that hut. She would be given her food and drink there. And then after that 1 year, she would be allowed to come out of there, and she would be in a very pitiful state. Details are mentioned in Kutub of Hadith. Islam cancelled it and reduced it to 4 months and 10 days. We see other religions. What do they say about widows? In the Hindu madhab, what's in their scripture, Gita Sita, is that when a husband dies, the wife has to die as well. So when the husband's body is burnt, then she should also do something that's called sati. Sati is that she should sit on the fire, and when the fire is engulfing the body of the deceased, she should also die. And they used to do that. It was recently in the Hindu culture, the Indian government outlawed it. Even recently, as few, maybe 2-3 decades back, there were some actresses whose husband died and they said she has to die as well. And she didn't want to die. She refused, so her family drugged her. And in that state, they also put her on the fire and she was burnt alive. That's what their mazhab says, that when the husband dies, the wife should die as well. This is jahiliyyah, jahalat. Then we take the Catholic religion. When the husband dies, the wife is not allowed to marry again forever. She will be in iddah for the rest of her life. She has to wear black clothes. No matter how young she is, she's not allowed to marry. I was once in Portugal. We went with Maulana Rizwan and some friends to the gypsy market, like our Sunday market. Now, whilst we are going around, I asked Maulana Rashid, some of these stores, the ladies are wearing all black burqa like our ladies. Why is that? And he said that they are Catholics and these women are widows. And they wear these for the rest of their life. They can't wear any colorful clothing or any makeup, shake up, anything. They have to remain like this for the rest of their lives. So he explained this to me. And as we walked on, there were some young girls who had children, young babies, and they were, feeding them. And they were in black clothes. So I said, this girl also a widow? I said, yes, she's also a widow. She will remain like this for the rest of her life. And then someone asked Maulana Rashid, who is that? This is my friend. Who's that? His wife. Well, she's got a husband. Why is she wearing black? Because in their custom, black is only worn by widows. So she's no widow, she's married, she's got a husband. Why is she wearing black? So in the Catholic religion, the ruling is that when you get married, they say till death do us apart. So you can't, remarry after the death of your husband. You have to remain celibate for the rest of your life. Now, this is all in Hindu madhab, you get that. In this Catholic religion, you get that. In Jahiliyyah, there used to be 1 year. Islam upheld that for a little bit of time, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reduced that and brought it down to 4 months and 10 days. This is why, on one occasion, this young girl's husband died. She was going through her 4 months, 10 days in that period. And she had some pain in the eyes and sticky eyes. So her mother came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and asked, Ya Rasulullah, she's got some pain in the eye. Can I apply some surma for her? And Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, no. A little bit of pain, she can bear it. She can take that pain. And this is in iddat. The woman is not allowed to do any makeup. She has to do sog manana, ihdad, which we'll explain. Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, it's only 4 months and 10 days. In the pre-Islamic period in Jahiliyyah, you used to stay for 1 year. Allah reduced it for you. Can you not wait for 4 months and 10 days? And she said, okay, Ya Rasulullah, I will avoid. And now what's happening? Allahu Akbar, Jahalat, the husband dies, and girls, they roam around. Young man, taxi driver, died in accident, and the janazah has not been buried yet. There's weekend, and because of that the janazah was delayed, and Saturday night his wife is out with her friends. What can I do? She was misbehaving during his life. Bichara, he was having a tough time anyway, and his body is still in the house, and she's going out with her friends on Saturday night. This is the level of ignorance people have stooped to. This is why um, Hazrat Maulana Idris Kandalvi Rahmatullah Alayhi writes over here that iddah has various, ways to look at it. Ibn Kathir has written, in iddat, there is the haqq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hukm of Allah. And then there is the haqq of the husband, that you've been with that husband for such a long time, and now he's died. Why should you not remember him for a little bit? It's his right that you appreciate his favors upon you. Hazrat Maulana Idris Sahib writes, किसी के मरते ही फरमाया, this is with the next ayat, but it's connected to this. It is bemuruvati that you just ignore the iddat at all. Also, it is bewafai on the part of the wife, that she goes out and she starts, behaving like normal and acting like normal as though nothing's happened. So there should be no bemuruvati, bewafai. You should be wafadar, show a little bit of remorse, show a little bit of gham and sog manana. This is why Shariat has said that during the iddat of a widow, she has to do ihdad, sog manana. And Hazrat Mufti Shafi Sahib explains over here, for one whose husband dies, it is not correct to wear perfume or wear any makeup or use kuhl, surma, or hair oil, or beauty treat unnecessarily, or apply henna, or dress gaudily. ये इसको सोग मनाना कहते हैं. तो जैसे हमारे हजरत के घर में खाला जान है, खाला जान ने सुनाया कि जिस दिन हजरत शेख रहमतुल्लाह अलैह का इंतकाल हुआ मदीना शरीफ में, तो खाला जान वहीं थी. Hazrat was there in Medina Sharif as well. So as soon as Hazrat Maulana Talha Sahib came in the room where the ladies were and said, Abba Jan, Allah ki rahmat mein pahunch gaye hain. So his mother, Amma Jan, immediately took off her jewelry, bangles, whatever she was wearing, earrings, ring, and gave it to someone to keep. Because jewelry is not allowed. फौरन निकाल दिया अम्मा जान ने. कैसा यानी अमल है शरीयत पर, अल्लाह का हुक्म है कि सोग मनाना है, ब्यूटिफाई नहीं करना है. Anything that beautifies the body, so jewelry should be taken off instantly, and surma, makeup should be avoided, and also colorful clothing should not be worn. Simple sada clothing should be worn, like flashy clothing which you might wear in weddings or outside. That even colorful burqa or those things should not be worn as well. This is called ihdad, sog manana. And when Allah said yatarabbasna bi anfusihinna arba'ata ashhurin wa ashra, this tarabbus, they should lie in waiting, sit in waiting. The indication is in the word tarabbus is towards ihdad, sog manana, because they have to stay in the house for 4 months and 10 days. That means they have to avoid all forms of beautification, and they have to remain simple, sad, with sada and simplicity throughout those 4 months and 10 days. When there is some necessity, she will be allowed to go out of the house for necessity. Night time, she has to stay in the house. But during daytime, if there was some necessity, like for example, doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, optician's appointment, hospital appointment, she would be allowed to go. Or even to the extent that if there is no one to earn for her, because the husband has died, no one to support her, then she could go to work in the morning and straight back home. She shouldn't spend time idly roaming around here and there. That would be allowed in times of dire necessity, when there is no legacy estate left behind, there's no one to support her, and she can stay in home for as long as she can. And when there is, she can no longer stay there, she would be allowed to go and support herself and her children as well. It's not like some people say, okay, when your husband dies, you can't go out in the garden, you can't put your clothing on the washing line, because you can't look at the clouds. If you look at the clouds, you eat that is broken. तो ये जाहिल लोगों की बातें हैं. Looking at clouds does not break your iddat. Many people, I got a question of this as well. But is it true that when your husband dies, that you can't look at the clouds? यार किसने कहा? जाहिल की बातें हैं ये. तो जहाँ necessity है, वहाँ शरीयत becomes flexible in necessity. Where there is no necessity, Shariat says you have to be mindful of Allah's hukam. It's only 4 months and 10 days. Allah said, وَالَّذِينَ يُتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ, those whose souls are taken away from among you, وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا, and they leave behind wives, يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَعَشْرًا, they should lie in wait with themselves for 4 months and 10 days. 4 months and 10 days, Hazrat Mufti Shafi Sahab and Mufti Ashiq Ilahi Sahab Balansheri Rahmatullahi alayhi narrates that these 4 months and 10 days, if the husband died on the first moon crescent, then it will be 4 months 10 days according to the months 29 or 30. But if he died on the next day or any other day, middle of the month, then every month will be counted as 30, not 29. Even if it's 29, it still be counted as 30 days, and she will have to sit in iddah for a total of 130 days. Normally it happens that और आम दिनों में in lunar calendar के हिसाब से 30, if he was the first exactly on that first of the Muharram, like died on the first of Muharram, then Muharram is 29, Safar is 29, Rabiul Awwal is 30, Rabiul Thani is 29. Then that's how it will work. And on the 10th of Jumad al-Ula, her iddat will be finished. But if it was on the 2nd Muharram, 10th Muharram, like our Hazrat died on the 10th Muharram, then the months will be counted according to 30, 30, 30, 30, and then 10. So it will be 120 for 4 months, another 10 days, total 130 days from the day the husband died. That's how it will be counted. And this is for woman who is not pregnant. Because if the widow is pregnant, then her iddat will be waz'ul hamal, delivering the child. This is in Surah Al-Talaq, وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ أَجَلُهُنَّ أَن يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. The iddat of those who are carrying babies, their iddat will be when they deliver their child. Whether she delivers the child in 1 day or 1 month or 6 months or 8 months or even 9 months, as soon as she delivers the child, her iddat is finished. Even if she delivered it 1 hour after the husband's death, then her iddat will be 1 hour. This is the madhab of Jumhuri ulama. It was the madhab of Sahaba, most Sahaba. Ibn Kathir has narrated from Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma that her iddat will be ab'adul ajalain, the furthest of the two. If the 4 months 10 days is the furthest, that will be her iddat. And if the wazi hamal delivery is the furthest, like 6 months, then that will be her iddat. But when Sahaba heard of this, they mentioned to him the case of Subay'a al-Aslamiyya, which is narrated in Sihah, that Subay'a Aslamiyya gave birth to a child few days after her husband's death. And people told her that you have to sit for 4 months and 10 days. You can't get, halal within just a few days. And she said, no, I'll ask Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, see what he says. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, no, your iddat is finished. You can beautify yourself. You can wait for any proposals if they come to you. So, when Ibn Abbas was informed of this hadith, he retracted his past statement and he did ruju, and he said, the iddat will be wazul hamal, as Allah has said, not the ab'adul ajalain. So this is another ruling with regards to yatarabbasna bi anfusihinna arba'ata ashhurin wa ashra. Fa idha balagna ajalahunna, when they reach the end of their waiting period, meaning the time finishes 4 months and 10 days, فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي مَا فَعَلْنَ فِي أَنفُسِهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. There will be no sin upon you in what they do with regards to their own lives in reasonable manner. Meaning you are the guardians, walis. Now, during this period, you should take care of her. If she misbehaves, if she tries to do something wrong, you should correct her. This is called Amr bil Maruf Nahi Anil Munkar. So during the 4 months and 10 days, in that period, you have to look after her and correct her if she does something wrong. However, when her period finishes, then she is at liberty. She has her choice. She can do what she wants to. And she can marry whom she wants to. If she wants to marry a certain individual, then provided it's bil ma'roof, in a proper manner, reasonable manner, she's marrying someone in kufr, who's of similar age, similar status, and everything is similar, and they are both compatible and suitable for one another, that's ma'roof. Then don't stop that nikah. Allow her to do that nikah. This is فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي مَا فَعَلْنَ فِي أَنفُسِهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ and وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fully aware of whatever you do. What is the hikmat behind the iddat? As we understood, the wisdom behind iddat is number one, to check if there is any baby in the womb or not. We explained in talaq that recently there's been a research where the scientists have said that when a woman is divorced, then the genes of the husband are mixed with her genes, and it takes time for the effects of the husband to wean away, separate from the wife. And they said it takes at least 3 menstruations for all the effects of the husband to fade away. उत्थान हमने एक आर्टिकल ढूंढा था, तलाश किया था, ठीक है वो क्या उसमें मुझे I'm forgetting the exact wordings of it. Maulana Mahmood Chandiya sahab mentioned this, and then they said that when she's divorced, she's in a state of shock, so the effects of the husband from her body, they fade away quickly within 3 months. But if she's a widow, then the process is a bit slow, so it takes a bit of further time. That explains 4 months and 10 days. That Shariat has said to wean off and the effects of the husband on the wife's body, to remove all those cells or whatever is contact she has had, and to clean her womb and everything. It will take 3 months if she is divorced, and 4 months and 10 days if she is a widow. This is Shariat being proven by the science as well. Science is also supporting what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't need science to prove us. Quran is a proof in itself. But sometimes these researchers give us a little bit of help and boost our iman as well. So this is the iddat of وَالَّذِينَ يُتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ. And since Shariat has restricted it to 4 months and 10 days, we should also limit to that. Don't do any iddat above that. Also, 2 points. Number 1 point, don't go beyond that period. Some people do iddat of 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. That is also not right. In Mishkah Sharif, there is hadith that Hassan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib, Karramallahu wajhu, Hazrat Hassan's son was named Hassan as well, died, and his wife was really sad because she loved him so much. So she built a small tent near his grave, and she said, I'm going to sit here in iddat for 1 year. And she sat in the iddat for 1 year. People tried to explain to her, but she wouldn't listen. And she stayed there. After the year finished, and she took up the tent and she was going home, she called a cry from the unseen. It's in Bukhari as well. Ala hal wajadu ma faqadu? Someone asked, one person. And the other person replied, La bal ya'isu fanqalabu. The first person called out, did they find what they had lost? And the other person said, no, they lost hope. That's why they went back. This was to teach her a lesson that though you are the wife of a Sayyid, but what you did was wrong. You shouldn't have done that. You exceeded the limits. When Allah said is 4 months, 10 days, why did you go over 4 months, 10 days? Secondly, these 4 months, 10 days, iddat is only upon the death of the husband. If any other relative from the family dies, like father, brother, mother, son, then she can do sog and manana and ihdad for only maximum 3 days. Because Allah's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, لا يحل لامرأة تؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر أن تحد على ميت فوق 3 ليال إلا على زوج 4 أشهر و10. Hazrat Zainab bint Jahsh radiyallahu anha, who is Ummul Mu'mineen, her brother died and the news came and she was very sad because she loved her brother. So she was sad, she was crying in a pitiful state. However, as 3 days passed, she immediately remembered this hadith and she said, bring me some perfume and some makeup, shake up. And she applied some makeup and musurma and some perfume. And she said, I don't need this, but I'm only doing this because I don't want to be seen to be making sog and ihdad. Because I heard this hadith from Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, لا يحل لامرأة تؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر أن تحد على ميت فوق 3 إلا على زوج 4 أشهر و10. Sometimes बाप का इंतकाल हो जाता है, father dies, तो उसमें क्या कहते हैं, औरत सोग मनाती है, लेकिन उसको इस तरह से बहुत लंबा सोग मनाने की इजाजत नहीं. फुकहा ने लिखा है, even if during those 10 days, those 3 days of sog manana, if the husband wants to have intercourse with her, she can't say no. Of course, the husband should be mindful of her pitiful state, but if the husband calls her, she shouldn't say no. And even then, the sog manana should be only for maximum 3 days. After that, she should get back to the normal life. So these are few masail of يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواج يتربصن بأنفسهن 4 أشهر و10. And then Ibn Kathir rahmatullah alayhi narrates that this ihdad and sog manana and 4 months 10 days period iddat is wajib on all types of women. الصغيرة والكبيرة والآيسة والحرة والأمة المسلمة والكافرة لعموم الآية. It will be wajib on everyone, even if let's say a girl, a minor girl was given, nikah was done with someone and the person died. For example, sometimes in our Asian subcontinent or Arabians, they marry off small girls with their children, like Dadabaji says, तारा पोईरान शादी मारी आप पोई नहीं हटे, तो वो cousins में निकाह करा दिया, वो 2-3 साल की बच्ची है, वो जब when she gets grown up बालिग, then रुखसती will be done. Now let's say that the husband died, निकाह तो दादा ने करा दिया था, दादा भी मर गया, उसका husband भी 10 साल का था, मर गया, अभी तो रुखसती नहीं हुई थी, अब बच्ची भी है 10 साल की. So Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi said she has to do iddat as well, saying if the wife is a kafira, like say kitabiyya, she was a proper kitabiyya, and the Muslim married her, a Muslim died, the kitabiyya will have to do iddat of 4 months and 10 days and ihdad, sog manana as well. But Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi says no. The small girl, child minor, she doesn't have to do the iddat period, because Huzur used the word la yahillu li imra'atin, and she is a sabiyya, not an imra'ah. So she's not bound by the iddah. She's not mukallaf. She's not mukallaf of namaz. Why would she be mukallaf of iddat? Secondly, if she is a kafira, she doesn't have to do iddat, because Huzur said la yahillu li imra'atin tu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir. So iddat masail, 4 months 10 days and ihdad are for a mu'minah only, not for a kafira. So this is the masala. Imam Shafi he says the umumi ayat yutawaffawna minkum wa yadharuna azwajan. Imam Shafi used the umum, but Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi kept the hadith in mind of imra'atin and tu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir, and he said there is no iddat on saghira nor on a ghair muslima who is nasraniya kitabiyya. There is no iddat on them. We move on to the next ayat. ولا جناح عليكم فيما عرضتم به من خطبة النساء أو أكننتم في أنفسكم there is no blame on you if you hint as a proposal to the women or conceal it in your hearts. علم الله أنكم ستذكرونهن ولكن لا تواعدوهن سرا إلا أن تقولوا قولا معروفا. Allah does know Allah does know that what you will mention to them, but do not make a promise to them secretly, except that you speak in a reasonable manner. وَلَا تَعْزِمُوا عُقْدَةَ النِّكَاحِ حَتَّى يَبْلُغَ الْكِتَابُ أَجَلَهُ. And do not resolve upon a contract of marriage until the prescribed time is reached. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ فَاحْذَرُوهُ. And know, be sure that Allah knows what is in your hearts, so fear Him. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ حَلِيمٌ. And know that Allah is most forgiving, forbearing. This verse is also connected to the previous verse, that when a woman is in her iddah period, then certainly you can't marry that woman who's in iddah, because she is still classed as in the nikah of her husband, whether she is a mutallaqa or mutawaffa anha, divorced or widow. During that iddah period, she is still classed as connected to her previous husband. And just as you can't marry a married woman, you can't marry a woman in her iddah period. Allah said, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. Those who are muhsana, who are married, you can't marry them. You can't have a double marriage. Ek aurat cannot marry two men. So similarly, if she is in iddat, then you can't marry her. At the same time, you can't explicitly mention your intention of marrying her. You can't say directly, I want to marry you. Because again, the person who sends this proposal is bemuruwat, as Hazrat Maulana Idris Sahib said. That Hazrat ने लिखा है कि किसी के मरते ही उसकी बेवा से निकाह का पैगाम देना बेमुरुवती है. गोया के पैगाम देने वाला उसकी मौत का मुंतजिर था कि कब वो मरे कि मैं उसकी औरत से निकाह करूं. खुसूसन जबकि बेवा साहिब कमाल साहिब जमाल भी हो तो पैगाम देने वाले भी जल्दी करते हैं. So to give a send proposal as soon as the husband dies is बेमुरुवती. क्या तर्जमा करेंगे मौलाना रफी साहब बेमुरुवती का? बेगैरती, बेमुरुवती, against normal character. It is sort of dishonoring the deceased person. You have no muruwat, no sharafat, no honor in you, that you are sending the proposal straight away as though you were waiting for him to die, especially when the widow is good looking, beautiful, and she has some kamalat and some ability in her. She's from a good family, rich family, and she has her own job and good money and coming in, and she has a status in the society. That means you are waiting for the husband to die and you send the proposal immediately. This is wrong. Similarly, on the other hand, ala haza इद्दत के अंदर औरत का किसी मर्द के साथ निकाह की गुफ्तगू करना, ये बेवफाई पर दलालत करता है कि पहले शौहर के मरते ही उसके हक रिफाकत को भूल गई और साबिक निकाह की इज्जत व हुर्मत का कोई लिहाज न किया. जिसके घर में इद्दत गुजार रही है और जिसकी मीरास तकसीम करा रही है, उसके मरते ही दूसरे से निकाह की बातचीत कर रही है. गोया ये बेवफा औरत अपने शौहर के मरने की मुंतजिर थी कि कब ये मरे और मैं दूसरे से निकाह करूं. So on the other hand, if a woman also accepts proposals and she starts talking to accepting proposals, then this is bewafai on her part, that she has forgotten the haqq of her husband, that they were companions for so long, and she has forgotten his rights over her, and she is not keeping in mind that she is spending the iddat in his house, and she is distributing the miras and the estate and legacy among her children which he left behind. And as soon as he died, she's getting married to someone, and as though she was waiting for him to die so she can marry someone else. This is why Shariat said that if she is still in iddah, then you should not mention explicit words of proposal and nikah to her. Fima arraztum bihi. Ta'reez means to hint at it, to say words which are not direct but indirect. Like for example, if she is distant relative of yours and you say to her like words like you should get married to someone, look out for someone, if you do get some proposal, don't deny it. Or words like, I was also thinking of, looking out for someone and thinking of getting married, without direct, attention. So hinting is allowed, but direct proposal is not allowed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, now, this is also according to the society of the time, Sahaba society, not our society. In our society, nobody marries a widow. When a woman is widow, bichari, nobody wants to marry widows. There are so many young virgin girls still in their homes, nobody is marrying them, let alone widows and divorced. Nobody wants to marry a divorce, nobody wants to marry a widow. This is how bad our society has become. But in that society, as soon as a woman is widow and she finishes her iddat, she would get proposals. And we get there, like for example, Fatima bintul Fatima, her husband died, and when her iddat finished, she got instantly, the day her iddat finishes, she gets 3 proposals. One from Usama ibn Zayd, one from Abu Jaham, and one from Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. And she makes mashwara, Ya Rasulullah, I got 3 proposals, what shall I do? And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Amma Muawiyah fa su'lukun la mala lahu. Muawiyah is miskeen, he's got nothing to support you. And Fatima bint Qais was from a wealthy family, so he had to think of her, that you are a Khatipidi family, and Muawiyah is Suluk. At that time, Muawiyah he was new Muslim, he embraced Islam in Fateh Makkah. So between the Fateh Makkah period and the death of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those 2.5 years, Hazrat Muawiyah was Suluk, miskeen. It's later on he became governor. So Huzur said, Muawiyah, he's gharib, miskeen, faqir, don't get married to him. Abu Jaham, farajulun darrabun lin nisa, la yadawu asahu an atihi. Oh, aurton ko marta bahut hai. He hits women, he has asa with him all the time. Nah, it's no good for you. Get married to Usama. And she said, Usama? I don't want to marry Usama. Usama ibn Zayd, he was the son of a freed slave. And Hazrat Usama was a little bit dark in complex, because his father Zayd ibn Harisa radiallahu anhu was white, but his mother Ayman was from Habasha. So because of that, he had dark complex. So she said, nah, I don't want Usama. He said, no, India Usama. I said, okay, when is your hukam? She said, I married Usama. But Usama was such a nice person that Madine ki aurtein mujh par rush karne lagi. The women of Medina were envying me that what a nice husband you got. So, as soon as she finished her iddat, she got 3 proposals. Same was the case with others, widows. I mentioned to you the incident of Atika binti Abdullah. She was married to the son of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. He became shaheed in one of the battles. Then Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu married her. He also became shaheed. And then Zubair ibn Awwam radiyallahu anhu married her. He also became shaheed. So people said, if you want to get married, if you want shahadat, get married to her. She is zawjatu shuhada. जो इससे शादी करता है शहीद होता है. तो इसमें ये है कि आप देखो कि जहां उनके शौहर की शहादत हुई, फौरन दूसरा निकाह हो गया उनका. इब्न अबी बकर मोहम्मद इब्न अबू अब्दुर्रहमान इब्न बकर का इंतकाल हुआ, फौरन प्रपोजल आ गया. अब उमर इब्न खत्ताब रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु का इंतकाल हुआ, फौरन जुबैर इब्न हुआ. जुबैर का इंतकाल हुआ, फौरन और शादी हो गई. तो ये बेवा के साथ फौरन शादी हो जाती थी, वहां वेट नहीं करना पड़ता था. 6 टाइम्स, चलो 6 शहीद हो गए, माशाल्लाह. आतिका बिनती अब्दुल्लाह ज़ौजतुश शुहदा, उसमें ये भी है, हजरत जुबैर इब्न अव्वाम बहुत गैरतमंद थे. She used to go to the masjid for namaz. Now Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, don't go to the masjid, pray in house. He said, nope. Huzur said, La tamna'u ima Allahi masajid Allah. You can't stop me. So Hazrat Umar said, all right, go. She used to go. When Hazrat Umar became shaheed, And she married Zubair. Zubair was really ghairatmand. And Hazrat Zubair radiallahu anhu said, don't go to masjid, pray in the home. He said, no, la tamna'u ima Allah masajid. All right. So Zubair one day he did a trick. She was going for Isha. She left the house. He also exited the house. He went from a shortcut route and he waited for her to pass by. And when she passed by, he gave her a slap on her bum and then ran back into the house and sat in the chair. And she came back running. What happened? Oh, people have gone bad, you know. Someone did this to me. I'm not going to go to the masjid. Oh, okay, all right, nice. So, Sahaba were Sahaba. So, this is the point is that the moment they would become widow, they would get proposals. But in our society, one of the reasons is there was polygamy there, and over here, we don't like polygamy. But I don't know what to say, how to put it forward in words. But इसके बगैर काम नहीं चलेगा. बहुत सी लड़कियां बेचारी बैठी रहती हैं, पूरी जिंदगी गुजर जाती है. मर्द कम हैं, औरत ज्यादा हैं, तो औरतों को भी थोड़ा अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना चाहिए. तो इसमें थोड़ी नरमी करें, थोड़ा सॉफ्ट हो जाएं तो फायदा हो. तो भाई अगर आपका हस्बैंड जो है दूसरी निकाह करने दो. पास जगहों पर मैं तो क्या बोले, टुडे इज नॉट द सब्जेक्ट. Otherwise, I went to Portugal and they have a colony called Guinea-Bissau. So there are Habshis there. And over there, the wife tells her husband to marry her friend, Saheli. कि वो मेरी सहेली है ना, उससे तुम शादी कर लो. They like, staying together. They are friends. She's my friend. बेचारी she's alone. उसका भी काम हो जाए. तो है, मैंने एक आर्टिकल पढ़ा था, एक औरत जो है हॉलिडे करने गई थी. She went to holiday on one of these islands, and the waiter was colored, African, but it was so nice. And every day in the same restaurant, he's serving and nice. And she said that, I want to marry you. And he said, look, I am Muslim. And she said, I'm ready to become Muslimah. And he said, but I've already got one wife. He said, no problem. In Islam, you're allowed 2 wives. I'll be your second wife. He said, all right, if you're ready, then no problem. So she came back. She was from Wolverhampton. She sold her property. She got a good amount. She went to that place. She bought a house and she married that person. And he was, fulfilling the rights of both, one night here and one night there. And she wrote an article in the magazine and she was saying, I'm so relaxed over here. Number one, I only have to do half the washing and half the cooking. Number two, in UK, my husband used to come home late at night and I would have sleepless night. I don't know who he's sleeping with and what disease he'll bring after doing zina, fornication, adultery, and what's going to happen to me. But here, I know exactly where my husband is. I know he's not going to bring me any diseases. So I have so much peace of mind and contentment in my heart. तो ये वो अंग्रेजी औरत लिख रही है, वो न्यू मुस्लिमा लिख रही है. तो ये शरीयत has allowed polygamy. There's hikmat in there. It's for these ladies like this. बेचारी बेवा हो जाती हैं. There's nobody to look after them. And now the benefit system is crumbling as well. And ladies बेचारी 50, 55, 60, they have to go to work. There's no benefit. They have to support themselves. अब तो बच्चे भी नहीं है, बेटे भी सपोर्ट नहीं करते हैं. मम्मी you have to go earn your own daily bread. बेचारी को कौन लुक आफ्टर करेगा? तो अगर ये समझिए 2-3 शादियां अगर करें तो कितना फायदा होगा. अगर especially if the person has money, wealth, and he can support, or even in some cases if the woman is working and she can support him. तो अगर इस करें तो इसमें क्या हर्ज है इसमें? बहरहाल शरीयत ने जो अलाउ किया है वो इन चीजों को जहन में रख करके किया है. तो अल्लाह पाक ने फरमाया ला जुनाहा अलैकुम, बस अब फिनिश कर रहे हैं. नो ब्लेम अपॉन यू इन what you hint with regards to your proposal of the women, or if you conceal in your hearts and you don't reveal it. Allah knows that you will mention them. satazkurunahunna lekin la tuwa'iduhunna sirran. Don't make secret promises to them. चुपचाप से अब तो मोबाइल पे चिट चैट करते हैं ना, तो मैसेज सेंड दिया, कर दिया, ईमेल भेज दिया, व्हाट्सएप भेज दिया, मैं तुमसे शादी कर लूंगा, just wait till your 4 months 10 days finishes, I'm ready for you. तो इस तरह के secret messages when nobody finds out, that's not right. You have to wait, do sabr bhai. Don't be besabra, don't be impatient, be patient. And Allah said, except that you speak in a ma'roof way. Ma'roof means a recognized manner, a good manner, a reasonable manner that would be allowed for you. However, وَلَا تَعْزِمُوا عُقْدَةَ النِّكَاحِ, do not resolve upon a contract of marriage until the prescribed time is reached. Ta'zimu, azama means to resolve, firm intention. This is going one step beyond the proposal. One step is to just send proposal, and the second step is to fix the date of nikah during the iddah period, 4 months and 10 days. That your 4 months 10 days finish on the 10th of July, then 11th of July we do nikah. This is azmu uqdatin nikah. Do not make firm and resolve the knot and tying the knot of marriage until yablugh al-kitabu ajala. Al-kitab means the fixed prescribed term is reached and it's finished and it's completed. Wa'lamu, and know, is Quran's a way of explaining that Quran reminds us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence. So know that Allah is watching you and He knows what's in your hearts. So beware of Him and fear Him. Fahzaruhu, hazira means to beware, to be mindful, to be careful. Be careful from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be mindful of Allah and know that Allah is Ghafoor and Halim. He is forgiving. If mistakes are made, Allah will forgive. Halim, He is forbearing as well. But don't do things deliberately. This is the meaning of it. But Alhamdulillah, we've explained it. Allah give us the understanding of Quran Sharif, tawfiq to practice. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin nabiyil ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim taslima. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna ilma. Allahumma faqqihna fid din wa 'allimna at-tafsir wa at-ta'wil. Allahumma nawwir qulubana bil Quran وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا الجنة بشفاعة القرآن या रहमान राहिमीन। महाज अपने फजल करम से हम सब की मग़फ़िरत फरमा दीजिए, पूरी उम्मत की मग़फ़िरत फरमा दीजिए, रहम कर दीजिए, करम कर दीजिए, माफ़ फरमा दीजिए। हमारा यहाँ उठना बैठना कहना सुनना पढ़ना पढ़ाना कबूल फरमाइए। कुरान पाक की फ़हम और समझ आता फरमाइए। जो कुछ कहा गया सुना गया उस पर अमल करने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमाइए। इन मुफ़स्सिरीन किराम को सबको जज़ाए खैर अता फरमाइए। हमारी टूटी फूटी अल्लाह मेहनत कबूल फरमाइए। कोताही और कमज़ोरी और सुस्ती और गफलत माफ़ फरमाइए। ये उलमाए किराम तशरीफ़ लाए हैं, इनकी खिदमतों को कबूल फरमाइए। इसमें मज़ीद बरकतें नसीब फरमाइए, मज़ीद तरक्कियात अता फरमाइए, खूब बरकत अता फरमाइए, राज़ी हो जाइए। रब्बना तक़ब्बल मिन्ना इन्नका अंतस समीउल अलीम व तुब अलैना इन्नका अंतत तव्वाबुर रहीम। सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम अला सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद व आलिहि व सहाबिहि अजमईन बिरहमतिका या अरहमर राहिमीन।